Hey guys, can you see me? I'm on a new computer tonight, so I'm definitely feeling a little bit out of sorts so if you notice me squinting, it's because the computer is much smaller than it usually is, and it's hard for me to navigate things around. So um, I'm really glad to be here though. My name is Melody Bailey, and I'm the owner of Caring Transitions of Kanawha Valley, which is a business here in the Kanawha Valley. We focus on senior relocations, but we also do relocations for anyone of any age. We also do home cleanouts. We do estate sales. But most of my clients are seniors, which I think puts me in a pretty interesting spot and kind of a unique position where I feel able to talk tonight on the topic of aging in place. Many of my clients have chosen to move to another home as they get older, and some of them have chosen to stay in their current home as they get older. And I'm here to talk to you a little bit tonight about why certain people make the decision to stay, and why some make the decision that they want to move. I am speaking to you tonight as a member of West Virginia It Takes a Village. And what West Virginia Takes a Village is, we are a nonprofit group that is we're working towards our nonprofit status. We are a group that like-minded professionals that come from all kinds of different any arenas, and we all have information about seniors. We realize that seniors in our communities do not have the support system that they used to have. A generation ago, seniors had about 12 people in their support group, in their immediate support group. Nowadays, seniors have about 2. And so we really think that it takes a village. It really does take all of us working together to support our community of seniors, to lift them up, provide them with the things that they need, the resources that they need, the information that they need. So West Virginia It Takes a Village, we are devoted to providing that information and that help when and where we can. There are different people in our group that provide different services to seniors, and we do lots of presentations providing information for seniors. I'll be talking about aging in place today. I do another presentation about kind of the softer side of estate planning and what to do with your belongings when you pass away. We also have presentations on everything from Medicare and Medicaid, Social Security, those who might need help in their community. We do presentations on scams and online scams, that sort of thing. We have presentations on kind of the financial side, estate planning. We have a lot of different things that we do. So I really strongly encourage you to log into Facebook, check us out on our page. It's West Virginia It Takes a Village. And we'll be doing lots of presentations here at Putnam County Library. Very happy to do this for you guys this evening. So if you will bear with me a little bit. Also, I just want to comment that we have comments enabled on this video. I'm going to try to keep my eye on the comments in the video. So if you do have any questions or any feedback that you want to throw in here, feel free to throw that out. It makes my job much easier talking to you when there is feedback. Otherwise, I'm sitting here in an empty room talking to a screen. So it does make my presentation a lot more interesting and a little easier to get through when there's feedback. And I also want to be able to just provide you the information that you need and that you want. So if you have any questions or comments, just feel free to stick them down in the comments here on the video, and I will try to address them if I am able to get to them. So with no further ado, I am going to pop up here, if I can remember how to do it. I'm going to turn on my slideshow, and I am going to try to share my screen with you, which I think I know how to do. Ta-da! I believe you can see my screen now, which is a fantastic thing. So I'm going to start kind of talking a little bit about safe and healthy aging in place. One of the first things I want to kind of talk to you about or mention before I dive right into the topic is the basics about aging in place. There's a couple of terms that I'm going to use that I want to be really clear that we kind of understand what they are. The first is right sizing. People use the word downsizing a lot. When people say downsizing, it usually means getting rid of things, getting rid of belongings. I don't necessarily think that that is the best way to look at this. I don't think that as you get older, you necessarily have to get rid of everything that you own. Just because you're getting older doesn't necessarily mean that you're looking to get rid of items. But right sizing is a word that we choose to use because everyone's needs are different. You may choose to move into a smaller home. You may choose to pare down the items in your current home, but some people may choose to acquire more. Some people may choose to move into a bigger home. We just say that right sizing is maximizing the opportunity for your health and happiness as you get older. Your living situation is going to match your needs and your lifestyle. And so our goal is to help to equip you to right size your space so that you have everything that you need as you get older. Another word that I'm going to use is aging in place. You've probably heard me say that 3 or 4 times since we've started this presentation. Aging in place just means the ability to safely and comfortably live in your home as you get older, regardless of your age, regardless of your income, regardless of your ability level. We want you to be able to, if it is your desire, we want you to be able to age in place safely and comfortably. So that is kind of what we're going to be talking about this evening, is aging in place. So just to kind of set the tone for this, I want to talk a little bit about a study that was done by AARP. According to AARP, 86% of adults age 65 and older would prefer to age in place in their own home. I think that this is not really a surprise to most of us. Most people that I talk to say that they would prefer to stay in their home as they get older. If you want to chime in the comments on why you think that might be, feel free. If you think that you want to age in place in your home, throw a comment out there and just tell me why you think that might be. Some of the reasons that are commonly shared are for privacy. People believe as they get older, they don't want to necessarily live in a community. They don't necessarily want to live in a senior facility because they feel that they are going to lose that sense of privacy. They also feel that they're going to lose that sense of freedom of being able to make their own decisions. I would caution you that that's not always the case. Many senior facilities allow just a huge amount of freedom and a great amount of privacy. So it's not always true, but in some cases it can be true that freedom and privacy are a little bit compromised if you leave your home. One of the reasons people may not want to move is just a change to their routine. People are not comfortable with change. People don't love change generally. And so they are just more comfortable staying in their home so that they don't have to make that change. Another reason that people age in place, and this is kind of related, is the stress of moving. As you are older, it gets more difficult to move. Even when you're young, moving your home from one place to another, it's very difficult. Not only is it time consuming, but it's also physically demanding and it's mentally demanding just because there are a lot of moving parts. Even when you're moving, there are professional businesses like Caring Transitions that can help you move, but it's always stressful, even when someone else is taking care of all the hard stuff. So a lot of times people want to avoid the stress of moving as they get older. One of the larger reasons that people say that they would like to age in their home, that they would like to stay in their home as long as they possibly can, is this negative connotation of the word nursing home. I want to just mention to you real quick, and I will probably mention it again later. Nowadays, nursing homes are not the type of place that you remember. Mostly, even the word nursing home has become outdated. There are so many different kinds of senior living facilities that are not necessarily what we would consider a nursing home. There are skilled nursing facilities that provide 24-hour medical care, but there are so many other options of senior living facilities that don't necessarily bring to mind this nursing home idea. Because of the stigma of the word nursing home, people feel that that's not where they want to be. And in many cases, they probably right that they wouldn't want to be in that type of facility. But we are very fortunate nowadays that many facilities have completely moved from that model. And a nursing home today is not what it used to be. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But I want to kind of also bring to you some reasons why aging in place might not be the best solution for everyone. As you lose mobility and as your health starts to decline as you get older, living alone can be a very dangerous situation. The risk of falls is very, very great as you get older. Falls often lead to hospitalization. They can be very devastating, especially in your older age. If you're aging in place, you start to lose some independence. Driving skills become impaired, and even just doing everyday tasks, paying your bills, taking your medicines, cooking. We do lose some cognitive ability as we age, and this is just a scientific fact. But it does make it difficult to age in place because you can't necessarily rely on yourself or your own abilities to take care of your daily tasks. A very serious problem that also comes with staying in your home as you get older is isolation. I'm a very, very firm believer that depression can lead to lots and lots of health problems. Isolation can cause a person to become depressed. And so remaining in your home, if you don't have access, if you don't have a way to get out in the world and socialize, if you don't have a way of getting around, it may not be the best idea for you to remain in your home. There could also be budgetary constraints. We'll talk about this again in a minute. There can be budgetary constraints no matter what happens, whether you are remaining in your home or whether you're moving to a new home. There can be budgetary restraints, and there definitely need to be some financial aspects that are considered before you make a decision on whether you want to age in place or whether you want to move to a new home. Again, aging in place can be difficult just because of logistics. If you want to travel, but you are not necessarily able to drive yourself to the airport, if you are not necessarily comfortable navigating a new area, just taking care of items around the home, taking care of your everyday chores and errands and tasks, going to the grocery store, it can be very difficult if you're aging in place and you don't have the sort of support system that you need. So that brings me to, why should I care? Why should I worry? Why should I worry about this right now? Or when should I start to worry about this? I would caution you that oftentimes as we get older, changes come unexpectedly. This can come in the form of illness, injury, heaven forbid the death of a loved one. But when change comes, often it can be really drastic. It can be very fast. The problem with change happening very fast is, one, we are not equipped to necessarily make a decision quickly, because there are lots of moving parts in a decision like this, and there are lots and lots of things that need to be taken care of. If change comes quickly, then you don't necessarily have time to think through every option. And so I would strongly encourage you, no matter your age, as you're getting older, as you're getting close to retirement, maybe you've already retired and you're getting older, start to consider now whether your home is prepared, whether you are prepared to stay in your home as you get older. I'll talk a little bit about the things that you can do in your home to make it more comfortable and safer for you to stay there. Another problem that can happen is when you do have to make a decision, it can become more stressful as you get older. It is harder to make decisions. And when you feel like you're under the wire and you have to make quick decisions, and heaven forbid you have to make decisions when you're under grief or in the event of a crisis, decisions can be very, very stressful. If you start to think about it now, then you will be able to make that decision slowly and more carefully. And it takes a lot of the stress out of the decision making. It's much easier to start planning ahead than it is to take care of things in a crisis. So there are 4 things that I'm going to talk about that we will kind of go through this evening. The 4 things that you want to consider when you are considering aging in place. So as you get older, as you reach your senior years, there are 4 things that you want to think about to determine whether your current home is going to be a great fit for you as you get older. Those 4 things are your physical needs, your mental, your emotional, and lifestyle needs. Unfortunately, we do have to always consider financial needs. Budgetary constraints can be an issue, and your family's needs. Those are the 4 things that we're going to kind of talk about. So I'm going to jump right into the first one, which is physical needs. I want you to consider, what do you need in a living space? I'm also, in the meantime, I am trying to pull up some other documents that I have here because I want to be able to share with you some worksheets that I have. Consider what you need in your living space. So I'm going to open up a document here and share it with you. And if you would like copies of these documents, if you would like copies of these worksheets, please drop a comment. And I'm happy to send them to you either via Facebook or email. If you put in your comments that you want a copy of these, or you can always email me at mjbailey@caringtransitions.com. I'd be happy to send these to you. So this worksheet talks a little bit about my physical needs. What better meets my physical needs? So let me talk to you a little bit about how to go through this worksheet. There are different segments within the worksheet, and each segment has statements. For each statement, you're going to check a box. One box says, my current home meets this need, or my current home could meet this need with some modification. The second column is, a different home would probably meet this need better than my current home. And then the third column is, I'm just not sure. I do not know what the best situation would be for me. So I'm going to walk us through this worksheet kind of quickly, but I encourage you to get these, print them out, and start thinking about the answers to the questions as you get older. So let's talk a little bit about in our neighborhood. Think about living in your neighborhood. Can you get in and out of your neighborhood if there's inclement weather? So think about your driving skills. Think about, do you live in a place where it snows often? Are there lots of hills? Are there roads that flood? Is your neighborhood somewhere that you could get into and out of as you get older? Think about um, what is in your community as far as businesses. Can you get to the bank? Can you get to the grocery store? Do you go to religious services? Can you drive around your neighborhood? And if you cannot drive, are there alternate ways to of transportation to get you around your neighborhood? So is there public transportation? Are you able to walk through your neighborhood? And then a third statement here is, do I feel safe in my neighborhood? Do I feel safe in my neighborhood? And do I expect to continue to feel safe as I get older? So as you go through these, consider for each one, does your current home meet this need? Or do you think a different home would meet the need better? Then let's kind of zoom in a little bit into your home and think about coming into your home, into your driveway. Um, can you easily identify your home from the street? And something, especially as the days are getting shorter, and I believe probably just over a week from now, daylight savings time is going to happen, and we're going to do the fun fall back thing, and it's going to get dark pretty early. So think about getting into your home. Are there house numbers, and are they well lit? This is something people really often forget about, I think, but large and well lit house numbers can make a huge difference in access to your home. Um, if emergency services ever need to come to your home, it is very, very important that you have house numbers, that they are able to locate your home, that they're able to see it even in the dark. So consider that with your current home. Think about coming in the door to your home. Does the lock on your door work securely? Do you have a deadbolt? And then think about any barriers to entry into your home. So are there stairs that you have to walk up to get onto a porch? Maybe stairs you have to walk down. Are there handrails? If first responders needed to get into your home in an emergency, would they be able to access the inside of your home pretty easily? Then let's zoom in a little bit to the main living spaces in your home and think through kind of the main living spaces. If you want to close your eyes and kind of think about your home or look around and think, can you easily navigate through the rooms in your home without tripping over things? Is there too much furniture, or is it just pretty spacious? Is there too much clutter in your home? And think about, as you get older, the possibility that you may begin walking with a walker or using a wheelchair. Do you still feel that there is adequate space to navigate through your home without any tripping hazards? Think about the household chores that need to be taken care of. So vacuuming, sweeping, dusting, laundry. Are you able to easily access your washing machine? Are you able to vacuum your floors? And do you feel that that's something you're going to be able to do as you get older? If so, then you're going to check the boxes. Yes, my current home meets this need. Maybe you have a laundry room that's in the basement, and you don't necessarily feel that your mobility is going to be fantastic as you get older. You might want to mark, no, my home doesn't currently meet this need. Think about the hallways in your home. Think about all spaces in your home, really. Is there plenty of lighting in your home? As we get older, our vision tends to decline and we need more light to be able to see. This can not only just help us avoid tripping hazards, but just navigating everyday things like reading labels, reading books. We want to be able to see what we're doing. So is there good lighting in your home, or could there be good lighting in your home? Think about rugs and carpets. Think about the flooring in your home. It's very, very important that there not be any fraying, holes, any kind of curling edges on rugs and carpets in your home, because they can be a huge tripping hazard. The best case scenario would be to not have rugs at all in your home, and not have carpet. If you must have carpet on the floor, I think that wall-to-wall carpet is absolutely going to be a safer choice than an area rug. Area rugs have corners and edges that can make it easy to slip and trip. Rugs can slide, which can be a huge hazard. We don't want anybody to fall. We want no broken bones. And then think about transitions between rooms in your home. Do you have steps that you need to go up and down to maybe go into a living room or into another room in your house? Is everything level, or are there maybe thresholds between doorways that could be a tripping hazard? Think about any uneven flooring in your home. Those can be a tripping hazard. They may not be a problem while you're younger, but as you get older, those become more of a barrier. And if you were to ever have to walk in a wheelchair or with a walker, those can be a big hindrance to getting around your home. Think about the presence of stairs in your home. Do you have stairs in your home? Perhaps your bedroom is upstairs, but you do all of your kitchen and living room are on the main floor. When you're younger, sometimes the very worst that can be is just a little bit of a nuisance. As you're older, it can become absolutely not navigable. And so you really need to think about the spaces that you use in your home. Do you have to have stairs to access those spaces? That is not something that's very quick and easy to change about a home. It's possible, but it is not always inexpensive. Think about the bedroom in your home. Something people fail to think about is the phone lines. Do you have a telephone in your bedroom? If you don't have a landline, think about a cell phone. Do you have cell phone service in your bedroom? Often emergencies happen at night. Often emergencies happen while we're in bed. Do you have a way of being able to call for help when you are in your bedroom? Think about access, something that's a little less serious, but still necessary for everyday living. Think about access to things like your clothing. Do you have clothing hung in closets that's very high? If you were confined to a wheelchair, how would you be able to access that clothing? Do you have closet rods that are within reach? And think about the bed that you sleep on. Is it easy to get in and out of your bed? That may be an issue of the softness of the mattress. It may be an issue of the height of the mattress. It may be an issue with the height of the bed itself. That can be something that's very easily changed, but it's not something that you want to have to change last minute in the event of a crisis. It's definitely something that you want to think about before it becomes a problem. We'll move on to a few other spaces. Think about the kitchen in your home. And think about, are you able to keep the kitchen clean and free of pests? As you get older, cleaning becomes more difficult. And it's very important to have a safe environment. And that might mean cleaning up the kitchen better than you're able to. You may not be able to clean the kitchen on your own, but maybe you have resources and someone who's able to take care of that for you. Are you easily able to access things in the cabinets? Are you easily able to access things like your sink? Are you able to operate the sink? A lot of times the knobs on your faucet can be difficult to navigate if you have something like arthritis. Think about, do you have to bend over very much to get to lower cabinets? This becomes more difficult as we get older because our balance is not necessarily as good. Perhaps you're a person who doesn't use the kitchen very much. I will say that I am guilty. I am not a big cook. I prefer not to cook my own meals if at all possible. And so maybe you are not that concerned about the kitchen in your home being easily accessible as you get older. Maybe the kitchen is truly just a waste of space for you. In some cases, that may mean your kitchen is fine as it is and not anything to be concerned about. Sometimes that might just mean that you might actually enjoy moving to another space that doesn't have so much room taken up by kitchen. Excuse me. Talking a lot makes me have to cough, but I did bring water. So a couple more places that we want to think about in your home. Think about the outdoors. Do you have adequate outdoor space if being outdoors is something that's very important to you, something that you want to do after you retire? Maybe you want to garden a lot. Maybe you want to even have a small vegetable garden, flower gardens, trees. Think about the space in your home. Is it adequate for you now, or do you think that you need to live in a place that has more outdoor space? On the other hand, outdoor space often comes with upkeep. And we have to consider, are we able to do that upkeep on our own, or do we have to get someone else to do the upkeep for us? Maybe you don't look forward to cutting grass as you get older. Maybe you'd be perfectly happy moving to a place that has either a smaller yard or no yard at all. So again, we're going to go through these columns and check which column applies. Does your current home meet this need, or do you think a different home would meet your need? A couple other things to think about on this worksheet. Think about your pets. And you'll see me squinting. This computer is smaller than I'm used to. Think about your pets. Are your pets very important to you? If so, think about your pet's well-being in your current home. Maybe you live in a place where your pets get along really well, and you don't think that you would want to move somewhere else because of your pet's comfort and safety. At the same time, we also have to consider whether our pets are likely to get underfoot. That can be very different based on which animal. Every animal has different temperament. So think about whether you want to have pets in your current home, or whether you think a different home would be more suited if you maybe want to get pets as you get older. Think about electricity. Do you have a backup generator at your home? If the power were to go out, We often need electricity to keep medical supplies cool, things like insulin and other medications. There are also some medical devices that require electricity to operate. So your home may need a backup generator. So maybe your current home has one, and that's good. Maybe a different home would be well suited somewhere that has a backup generator. And think about overnight guests. This can be friends and family that just want to come and visit you. Overnight guests can also mean caregivers that need to stay in your home as you get older and help you take care of your medical needs and your activities of daily living. Do you have space in your current home to allow someone to stay in your home with you? Or would a different home better suit the need of having someone else in your home? So I'm going to flip back to my other screen here. I just want to, I hope it doesn't sound like harping, but I really want to kind of reiterate some of these points about safety. My main concern is not necessarily your comfort, but your safety in your own home. And so some of the things that I think are very, very important are kind of listed here on this page. I want you to consider getting in and out of your home. In case of an emergency, you want to be able to get in and out of your home easily and also safely. Consider the fact that you may need to eventually walk on a walker. You may be confined to a wheelchair at some point. Are there ramps and handrails that can give you access into your home? Safe, easy access into your home. Think about the deadbolts and possible security system in your home. Do you feel like you need a security system? Sorry. Again, I want to reiterate well-lit, large house numbers. As we get older, we really need to make sure that emergency services can identify our house from the street. In the easiest scenario, think about food delivery. It's become a big part of our life with the pandemic and a lot of people quarantining at home. It's nice to get food delivered to your house, but it can't happen if they can't identify your home. On a much more serious note, it's great for first responders. First responders absolutely need to be able to identify your home. So large, well-lit house numbers are something very quick and easy to take care of, but something that I think is going to make a lot of difference as you get older. Think about the walkways to your home, so sidewalks, other access to your home. Is everything clear? Do you have any concrete that might be lifting or cracked? Do you have trees that drop leaves? Do you have snow? Do you have someone that can remove snow for you as you get older? Think about adequate lighting, both inside and outside of the home. Outside of the home, it's very important just for getting in and out of the house, being able to see your house key as it goes into the lock. For security purposes, it's great to have adequate lighting outside of your home. Even inside of your home, adequate lighting is a very big deal, just for your comfort, but also for your safety to avoid tripping. Think about the flooring in your home. We want no tripping hazards. So think about flooring. Area rugs are kind of a big no-no. Area rugs are not good. Wall-to-wall carpeting is not great, but it's doable. Ideally, you would want to have a harder surface floor, something with no slipping and tripping hazards. Think about whether you want a landline in your home. If electricity goes out, then wireless, cordless phones don't necessarily work. So you may want to have an old-fashioned corded phone. Even if you have a cell phone that works well in your house, depending on the type of outage, if your cell phone loses its battery, you will not have access to be able to call in case of an emergency. So think about maybe putting a landline into your home, even if you don't have one now. Something I would recommend for everyone, no matter your age: smoke alarms, CO detectors, and fire extinguishers. These are 3 things that belong in every single home. If you don't have them in your home, contact your local fire department. They can probably help you get those things in your home, either for free or at low cost. This is something that needs to be in every single home, no matter your age. And consider backup generators, especially if you have additional medical needs. Many medical devices need electricity, and many medicines also need to be refrigerated. So a backup generator can be a wonderful thing, not just for your safety, but even just for your comfort. I want to talk a little bit about different types of home modifications. This is where we're going to kind of get down to what things can be done to your home to make it more livable as you get older, if you don't want to move out of your home. The first kind of category of home modification is what's called accessible design. This is what we think of when we think of government ADA requirements. The Americans with Disabilities Act has these requirements for accessible design. These are things like knee space under cabinets so that people who are confined to wheelchairs are able to roll under cabinets. Grab bars in bathrooms. Usually this is around the toilet or in and around the shower. One issue that comes often with accessible design is that they can sometimes look rather clinical. Accessible design is not necessarily made for style. It's often made for function. It's very safe, it's very secure, but accessible design does not necessarily look warm and inviting and cozy in a home. I just want to point out some examples here of what is considered accessible design. You'll see handrails in and around the toilet space, things like ramps leading into a home. In this case, it looks like a removable ramp or a movable ramp, which is also an option. Then you see things like walk-in tubs. This allows a person to take a full bath, not instead of a shower, even if you cannot easily step over a bathtub wall. So those are just some home modifications that can be done to meet ADA requirements. These certainly are very functional as you get older. The problem with accessible design is that often it doesn't look very fantastic. It's not very stylish. If you are considering doing any kind of modification to your home, any kind of renovation to your home, I want you to consider a newer concept that's called adaptable design. So adaptable design is essentially making changes to your home in advance of needed modifications for aging in place. So this might be putting reinforcements behind walls in bathrooms. You may not be ready to put grab bars in quite yet, but you might be already doing a modification or doing a renovation of your bathroom. If you go ahead and put reinforcements behind the walls, you will be ready to put in grab bars when the time comes. There are things like adjustable countertops that can be put in so that right now your countertops may be suitable for you as is. But as you get older, if you do become confined to a wheelchair, you can adjust your countertop. Base cabinets that can be removed so that regular cabinets with regular countertops with cabinets under them can be altered so that there are no cabinets underneath, just as a change in the future. Things like closet rods that can be adapted. So right now your closet rod might be hung very high, but later it can be shifted downward to make your clothing even more accessible. This is definitely a newer concept. And I just want to point out a couple examples here in the pictures. The first one shows a roll-in cabinet underneath the countertop. So what's great about this is you have extra storage space. It acts essentially as a regular cabinet. As you get older, if something were to happen and you needed to use a wheelchair for some time, this cabinet could be removed, put into storage, and you would have access to that countertop from your wheelchair. Things like bookshelves that can be modified. In this case, it's an extra high bookshelf, plenty of storage. If you were to get older and not be able to necessarily reach up to the top shelves, this type of bookshelf can be modified to become shorter and wider. So it still has the same amount of storage space, but it's shaped a little differently to make it easier to access. And the third concept about home modification is called universal design. Universal design is really, really fantastic because it meets a lot of the requirements of ADA, but it also is usually not noticeable. So this might be things like lever handles on your doors. People who have arthritis find it difficult sometimes to operate knobs. So knobs on faucets, knobs on doors, but levers can usually be used by just about anyone, but also they don't take away from the stylish, from the look of your home. Things like non-slip flooring in bathrooms, showers, and tubs. It can be very modern. It can be very stylish. Things like wide doorways. Again, these home modifications can be a pretty big deal though. So sometimes adding things like ADA, adding a ramp to your home can be, it can become a simpler job, but things like widening doorways and having entrances that don't have steps at all, moving electrical outlets higher or moving light switches lower, these can often be more expensive. But the great thing about them is that they're usually not noticeable and they're usable by anyone at any ability level. So just to show you some examples of universal design, there are things like dishwashers that are drawers. This means that you don't have that tilt out feature, and it's much more easy to access the dishwasher if you are confined to a wheelchair. Things like lever doorknobs, these have been around forever. And this is actually a very, very inexpensive change to your home as you get older. Things like spice racks that pull down out of the cabinet. Um, it can sit up in the cabinet and be out of the way, but it can be pulled down if you can't reach the spices in the back. So again, these things work for anyone, no matter your ability level, no matter your age. Some of them can be very inexpensive modifications to your home. Some of them can be more expensive modifications to your home. So I'll talk a little bit about which types of projects I think you can probably do yourself and which you should probably get some help with. There are a lot of ways that you can make your home more senior friendly. Maybe this is for yourself. As you get older, you want to prepare your home so that you can continue to live in your home as you get older. There may be times where you have an older family member or friend that decides to live in your home, and you want to make the home safer and more comfortable for them to live in. So these are some projects that you can really take care of yourself. Adding non-slip strips to steps and sidewalks. These are available at the drugstore or the hardware store, and can easily be added to steps to make them more safe to walk on in wet weather. Increased lighting. Sometimes this can be as simple as increasing the wattage in bulbs. You do need to check your lamp to see what the highest wattage bulb it can take. You may need to upgrade your lamps to a lamp that can handle a higher wattage. Maybe you just need to add more lamps to a room, but increased lighting is absolutely something that helps as we get older. Getting rid of area rugs. You'll get sick of hearing me say it, but getting rid of area rugs is absolutely a must. Consider getting rid of carpets altogether and switching to hard flooring. There are carpet tapes that are available so that you can tape area rugs down to keep them from sliding. This does not necessarily mean that they are going to be safe, because there are still going to be edges on those rugs that can become a tripping hazard. But carpet tape can keep the rugs from slipping under your feet. Something I would strongly encourage you to do is to declutter your home. There are companies, Caring Transitions is one of them, but there are lots of companies who will come in and help you declutter your home. Clutter is absolutely, it can be dangerous, but it also can really lead to a sense of dissatisfaction in your home. It can make you uncomfortable in your own home. We all gather stuff as we get older. That's just a way of life. But as you become older, it's really important to get into the mindset of letting go of things that don't meet your needs, letting go of things that don't fit your lifestyle. That way you can clear out extra spaces in your home, feel more at peace, feel more serene in your home. And it also helps with mobility issues and being able to navigate through your home. There are things like lazy Susans that can be added to cabinets, roll-out trays that can be added to cabinets in your kitchen. These are available at your local hardware stores, big box hardware stores. And they're pretty easy to install if you have a little bit of DIY skills. Something that a lot of people don't realize is that our sense of touch can become more impaired as we get older. Our nervous system is not as active, and it doesn't necessarily behave the way that it did when we're younger. And so seniors are more at risk for scalds and burns. One really easy and simple way to prevent scalding and burns on hot water is just to lower the temperature in your hot water tank. It's that simple. Lowering it to 120 degrees will kind of prevent a lot of cases of burning and scalds. This is on your bath water. This is even just running water to wash dishes. I would strongly recommend that you limit bath mats. It's very difficult because oftentimes if you don't have non-slip flooring, the bath mat is the only way to keep you from slipping on the floor. If you must have a bath mat, then I strongly, strongly recommend that you secure them with non-slip rug tape. This will secure every corner of the rug so that you're not going to trip over it. Things like adding removable shower seats and handheld shower heads in the shower can make things much easier for the senior that's living at home. And they can generally be done by someone who doesn't have a lot of handy knowledge, but can enough handyman skills. This can be done by just about anybody over a weekend. There are some things that I would strongly recommend that you do not do on your own. I would recommend, if possible, that you search out a certified aging in place specialist. This is a professional designation for builders and for handymen that really are trained in the best ways for seniors to adapt their homes and modify their homes to make them safer as they get older. So some of the things I would really not recommend that you do on your own, things like repairing uneven and cracked sidewalks. This is not something for unskilled people to try to do. Building entry ramps, I would strongly recommend that you get a professional to take care of that for you, because that's something that you really need to be very structurally sound. Adding handrails, again, to indoor and outdoor stairs, and adding even adding things like grab bars in the bathroom, I would strongly recommend that you get a professional to take care of that, because they, again, need to be very structurally sound. It would be a terrible thing to add a handrail to try to avoid accidents, and the failure of that handrail cause a greater accident. So I would strongly recommend that you have a specialist, some kind of a professional, a handyman, take care of that for you, and certified aging in place specialist if possible. Installing additional lighting like motion sensor lighting and pathway lighting really needs to have an electrician to install that. There are less intense, less involved options. Solar lights that don't involve any kind of wiring that can go outside of your house. Those could be a great option. They tend to not work as well or as long as electric lights. So it's probably a good idea to have an electrician take care of that. Converting your knobs on your doors and converting the faucets to levers. It may be something that if you have a lot of DIY knowledge, you could do yourself, but it is probably something that you're going to want to hire someone to do. Switching up flooring is not something for the faint of heart. If you have friends and family that are willing to help you, it might be something you could do, but it's really a good idea probably to call someone. Again, installing grab bars in showers and toilets, we talked about that. And switching to maybe a step-in bathtub, maybe a accessible bathtub or a roll-in shower can be an option. It's not necessarily an inexpensive option. And built-in shower seating is just a kind of a more, it's an option that's more pleasing to the eye than removable shower seating. But it's not something that you're going to want to do on your own. So physical needs is what we just finished talking about. That will probably be the longest of all of these different topics, these different ideas that you want to consider when you're thinking about aging in place. The second thing that we want to consider is your mental, emotional, and lifestyle needs. Again, I have a handy dandy worksheet that you are welcome to. I'm happy to send you. I'm trying to open it right now, so I'm trying to do two things at once. I'm happy to send it to you. So just leave a comment if you are interested in getting copies of these worksheets. Again, go through the phrases on this worksheet and check each box. Does your current home meet this need, or do you think that a different home would better meet the need? Do you have friends and family that are able to help you with your daily needs, with your daily household tasks, running errands, taking care of your health needs? Maybe you live in a place where your family is nearby and they're more than happy and able to help you. And on the other hand, you may live in a place where your family is not necessarily nearby and cannot necessarily assist with those things. Another thing to consider is not just if your family is able, but if you think your family will be willing, and if you think that you will be willing to ask for help. Only you know your comfort level in asking for help from family members and friends. Something you really need to consider is the kind of unspoken toll that taking care of a parent or a loved one can have on a caretaker. Not only emotionally, mentally, physically, it can be a big toll, and even financially, it can be somewhat of a toll. So consider whether you're willing to ask for help. Think about isolation and loneliness. Do you have a plan for that? It's absolutely imperative that you find a way to not be isolated in your own home. Isolation can lead to depression, and depression leads to a host of other health issues. Think about the lifestyle that you want to have as you get older. Do you want to have a quiet lifestyle as you get older? Perhaps you're not living in an area or in a housing situation that will lead to that peaceful lifestyle that you want. On the other hand, maybe you're looking for a more active social life. Maybe you're looking to move out of the country and more into a more urban area. Think about whether your current home meets the need that you have for the future. Something that I just kind of want to comment on is don't consider necessarily what those are around you are doing or what the generations before you have done. This is not your parents' retirement. You get to make your own decisions as you get older, and you can decide what your own needs are. And you really need to take steps to think about what you want and build the environment around you to meet those needs. Don't necessarily be pressured by what someone else thinks that you should do. Really, really put some thought into what you want. As we were talking about having someone come and help, having someone available to come and help you around your home, think about the non-health related tasks. There are things like running errands, minor home repairs. If you need help hanging up the shower curtain, if you need someone to get the cat toy that fell under the refrigerator, maybe you need someone to run you to the doctor or to the bank. Maybe you just want to have conversations with somebody. All of those are very important. Think about who you're going to have available in your social network that can help you with those things. We'll step a little bit away from that into what are called activities of daily living, or ADLs. You'll hear this term thrown around in lots of different venues. Activities of daily living are things like feeding, bathing, dressing, things that have to be done, not necessarily household chores, things that need to be done with your person, but not necessarily medically related. So in this case, you may need assistance with walking, you may need assistance with toileting, you may need assistance just remembering to take your medication. These are considered ADLs. There are plenty of organizations locally that can help provide assistance with ADLs. They can send someone to your home for a short period of time, either daily or a few times a week, to help you take care of these activities of daily living. Then we also have kind of on the more extreme end, healthcare needs. As you get older, your healthcare needs are going to become greater. Think about your current home and the healthcare facilities that are around your home. If you need to go to the doctor, if you need to go to the hospital, what type of transportation is available to help get you there? And then there's also the option of in-home healthcare. This can be skilled nursing. This can be 24-hour round-the-clock care. It can be things like physical therapy. It can be things like wound care. People do different types of medication management and infusion therapies. All of that can be done from the home. Again, it comes at a cost. Which brings us to the next topic you want to consider, which is your financial needs. This is something that it's not necessarily fun to think about the financial needs, but it's absolutely imperative that you do think about your financial needs, because it's going to play a big role in the way that you're able to live your life in the future. Again, I have another worksheet to talk about this. If you'll let me share my screen. So again, as you work through this worksheet, you'll read each category and determine whether your current home meets that need or whether a different living situation might meet that need better. This is things about being able to do maintenance on your home. Modifications to your home cost money. If you need major modifications to your home, are you going to need, what type of financial resources do you have to help you make those modifications? This can be something like adding a ramp. This can be things like adding a stair lift. I actually have quite a bit of information about this stuff, but just to kind of give you a ballpark idea, just having basic modifications done to your home. If you go into a home and do things like adding grab bars, handrails, additional lighting, lever knobs, those things can cost up to $10,000 in an average home. So it's absolutely worth considering the financial aspect of staying in your current home. Just because you don't have a mortgage doesn't mean that there's not going to be expenses that are involved in staying in your home. If you need more extensive modifications in your home, this can be things like adding wheelchair ramps, modifying hallways, modifying stairways, adding chair lifts. These things can cost up to $100,000. These can be very expensive depending on the size of your home and what type of modification needs to be done. Think about in-home help. If you're going to remain in your home, the cost of in-home help can be about, let's see, the average monthly cost of a homemaker, and a homemaker is defined as about 44 hours a week doing tasks such as cooking, cleaning, running errands. So this is someone that can take care of the errands around your house and chores, but not necessarily health needs. The average cost of someone to come in for 44 hours a week in your home is about $4,000. If you were to have a home health aide to come in and help you, the additional monthly cost is another $4,000 per month. So you're talking $8,000 per month to have someone that to help keep up your home and provide in-home health care. Compare that to the cost of a senior living community. Average monthly cost nationwide of assisted living communities is about $4,000 per month. Assisted living communities do not necessarily mean that you have 24-hour health care, but it just means that there are nurses available to help you with your medical needs, to help you with lots of your activities of daily living. Private nursing homes, so in other words, skilled nursing care, can cost about $9,000 per month. This is generally 24/7 medical care, but in some cases it may be more financially feasible than having in-home health care. So these types of financial questions are not something that you should jump into and try to understand yourself. As a first stab at it, I would recommend that you go to the AARP retirement calculator. The link is here on the screen. Happy to send you a copy of the link. But I would really strongly recommend that you talk to a financial planner, a certified financial planner, if at all possible. These, at a minimum, you need to talk to a financial planner to help determine what your financial outlook is going to be as you get older. Think about things, if you do decide to move out of your home, think about things like monthly fees in any kind of new living facility, homeowner fees, HOAs. But if you live in your current home, there are going to be costs such as home modifications, home repairs, transportation, possible in-home care. There are a lot of financial needs, and I just bring this up because these are things that you want to consider now before it becomes a crisis, before it is too late to take care of these needs. You don't want to have to make a decision at the last moment, because a decision made at the last moment can be very expensive. And when you plan it out earlier, you can make a more thought out decision that really does meet your needs better and is a little more bearable financially. The last thing that we're going to talk about real quickly is family needs. So generally, most seniors have family or at least close friends that live nearby or that live somewhere. Think about what you are looking for and what your family is looking for as you get older. Do you intend to spend more time with your friends and families as you get older? Perhaps you are the type of person that maybe you're doing in-home, maybe you care for children or grandchildren in your home, but as you get older, you recognize that that's not going to be a need of yours, or that's not something that you're necessarily looking to do as you get older. Take that into consideration as you consider your housing situation as you age. Think about visiting your family. Does it make more sense for you to visit them? Does it make more sense for them to visit you? If they're going to be visiting you, think about what type of space you have in your home for them to stay with you, if that is what you want to happen. Many people think that as they get older, they're really looking forward to privacy and alone time. If your home is large and has lots of rooms in it, you may be looking to actually move to a smaller home so that fewer people can want to stay with you. Again, some people will need to move to a larger home so that they can have a loved one move in with them or a caretaker move in with them as they get older. Just think about the type of help that you think you're going to need, and think about the type of help that your family is going to think that you need. Those two don't always see eye to eye. You really need to take your family's opinions into consideration. They often see things that we don't in our lives, and can help us to understand different limitations that we have that we don't know about. Another thing to consider is a shared home. Many people, as they get older, move back into a home with their loved ones, with their children, with their grandchildren. This can be either living in their home or living in a separate dwelling on the same property. But these are just different options that I want you to think about and consider as you get older. I'm going to skip through this next few slides just because, well, it's pretty important. I will try to get through some of this pretty quickly because I've got about 5 minutes left. I just want to throw out really quickly some of the different options as you're aging. If you decide that your current home is not the place that you need to be as you age, there are different options such as an actual single family dwelling. This might be smaller or larger depending on your needs. We've talked a little bit about accessory apartments or in-law suites. This is maybe a smaller living unit contained on the same property as a family member. Many people, especially in West Virginia, are what we call snowbirds. Snowbirds tend to move down south. They move to Florida, one of the Carolinas during the winter months. and live here in West Virginia during the summer months. There is subsidized housing, which is government assisted. Generally, this is for seniors that are age 62 and older with low income. Those are available around the country. Different types of senior living communities include independent living, which is essentially an apartment. You have little or no custodial care. Some of them may include some housekeeping, some of them do not, but essentially there is no medical care. Great thing about independent living is that you can live in a community of like-minded individuals, people with similar age, people with similar interests, but at the same time you have very much freedom and independence, which is exactly why it's called independent living. An assisted living facility is very similar to an independent living facility in some ways. You have your own living space. You do not share any of your living space with someone else. Oftentimes they have group dining situations and some assistance with ADLs, which is those things like toileting, bathing, getting dressed. There's usually very little actual medical care that's provided with assisted living facilities. Those medical care is usually restricted to what's called a skilled nursing facility. These are what we used to call nursing homes, but that is where you can actually get 24-hour medical care in kind of a nursing facility. There are things called continuing care retirement communities, or CCRCs. This is a single campus that provides lots of different types of living situations. So there may be independent living, assisted living, and skilled nursing all in one campus. This is a convenience because you can continue to live essentially in the same place, even if you can live in the same location, even if the actual facility that you're living in, the building that you're living in, changes. So with just a couple minutes left, I want to talk a little bit about next steps. Again, I mentioned to you that I have worksheets that go with this. I would strongly encourage you to get copies of these. I'm more than happy to send them. So if you want copies, either stick a comment here on the video or email me, mjbailey@caringtransitions.com, or contact me at Caring Transitions of Kanawha Valley. We have a Facebook page, or check out the Facebook page of West Virginia It Takes a Village. Happy to get you these worksheets. I think that can be a really good way to get some insight onto what's important and what you need to start considering as you get older. If you're married or if you have a partner, consult with that partner. Talk about what you want as you get older. Talk about your needs, but also talk about your wants. Do your research. You don't want to have to make a decision last minute. There are so many important things that need to be considered that making a decision last minute is a surefire way to miss something. It's a surefire way to set yourself up to make a bad decision. It's really great to have the luxury of time to be able to do some research and really make that plan in advance. You do want to discuss it if possible with your family or friends. It's nice to get a second opinion, and it's also great to get their input as to what they think is going to be great. Loved ones are really good at seeing into our lives things that we don't necessarily see. And just make a plan to revisit this. So maybe that means 6 months from now, a year from now, you have a reminder on your calendar that just says, hey, fill out those worksheets, check the worksheets again, or maybe you start making calls to senior living facilities just to get some information. Maybe you want to call a senior real estate expert. This is a designation by realtors. Senior real estate experts are well versed in things like reverse mortgages, senior living options. They are well suited and uniquely suited to help you find senior living if you don't really know where to start. So again, I think it's really important as you get older, especially if you're approaching retirement or have recently retired, to start making this plan, start figuring out what you want to do, just so that you can make the decisions in advance without having to make them in a time of crisis. Again, my name's Melody Bailey. I am with Caring Transitions of Kanawha Valley, but today I'm here speaking with West Virginia It Takes a Village. I want you to check us out on Facebook, West Virginia It Takes a Village. We have a Facebook page. Go ahead and like us, and stay tuned because we also have lots of other presentations that we'll be doing here with Putnam County Library and other local resources. I know that I'm not exactly sure which ones are happening next, but I strongly recommend that you follow us so that you can know what's going on and just get some of this free information, whether you're a senior yourself or whether you have senior loved ones, whether you have seniors in your community. Our goal really is to provide this information. We want to provide this information because we have it, and we want to be able to share it with our communities so that we can all support the seniors in our community. So with that, thank you guys for tuning in. And if you have any questions about any of this, feel free to contact me. If you want to talk to West Virginia, It Takes a Village about maybe us doing presentations for a group that you're involved in, feel free to get in contact with us on our Facebook page. And I will talk to you guys again. Have a wonderful evening.